Hello, beautifuls. I know I am not here to be an advocate for everyone. And yet, I love people, I love everyone, and I deeply want for everyone to feel like there's room for them here on the planet at this crazy high stress time. Hello, beautiful. This post is just about compassion. Hello, beautiful. We have to recognize that we are doing the best that we can do with what we know. And I really am starting to respect even more this idea that we are all here with a karmic lot in this. We're all here at this crazy, tumultuous time with a specific role to play, or a specific faction or group or segment that we are a part of. Because otherwise, there would be no way that I see things so incredibly differently than so many of my sisters and my colleagues and my family, right? I work with women, and for the most part, I find that each of the women I get to work with or be colleagues with are the outlier in their family units. We are slated differently. We are templated differently. We tend to think differently and see the world differently. And I think it's really time to just trust in that. Because we're not all here with the same story or the same performance to play. And the name of the game right now is to let that be, and to not let division separate us. To not let ourselves get spun up in the storyline so that we believe it so wholeheartedly, hook, line, and sinker, that storyline, that we lose sight of love, care, compassion, unity, connectedness, oneness, that we all are here for the same objectives. We really all care about the same things. We all need sustenance. We all need to feel like we belong. We all need support. We know that we're stronger as a community than alone, right? And if shit hit the fan and we had a crazy solar flare that took us all, off the grid for a bit, we'd be fucked if we wanted to ask the politics or the, immunotherapy choice point of our neighbor before we share bread. Right? And so many of us right now are having just spin-ups and turmoil within our families, within our homes. And so many of us are parents trying to shelter our children from hearing cacophony and dissonance. And so many of us are trying to do the right thing by not spitting our very narrow thinking into the minds of our little ones and poisoning them from thinking for themselves. It's a really tough game we're playing here. And as a person who really loves humanity on a good day and who's happy for humanity to get extincted, I just made that up, on a bad day, it's challenging, interesting, it's delicate. That's the word I want to use. It's delicate for me to walk that line of being in my own, having my own, recognizing my own, and speaking about my own human experience of this from my very limited vantage point. I know I don't know everything. I know that I don't really know what's going on. All I have is my gut feeling, my hunches, and the degree of trust that I give to propaganda or not propaganda, to news media, etc., all that, right? But we have to respect that not any one of us has the answers, right? So I have to make room for that. And it's tender because I also really want to see us all win. And bottom line, winning is about staying in connection, in love, in unity, in community. Because that's how we're going to get through this. And we can't let a stupid political or potentially medical decision divide us. And here's where I get that brings me peace for that, in that way. And this is my belief system, not yours. We can't all believe the same things. But if we really trust, and I'm talking about current events right now, if we really trust that our presence here is chosen at this time, that on a soul level we agreed to be here to participate, and that we agreed upon or decided upon which faction, and I think there are at least 5 of them, that we would be sitting within to have our vantage point coming from. If we believe that, then I think it's worth us thinking about this in another new set of ways. If we get exposure to this pandemic, don't you think that the end of our lifetime would have been decided as well? Because here we are fearing death, fearing death, fearing death. Or one step before that, fearing hurting someone, fearing harming others around us by being an asymptomatic carrier, right? What if we don't let our fear be such a burden of ourselves that fear drives divisiveness, that fear spins us up so much that we're out of control with anxiety and paralyzed or irritated to the point of being aggressive to our neighbors and our loved ones and our family members, right? It's all coming back to compassion, right? We have to make room for all of us here. I'm saying so many things. I hope I'm being followed. I hope it makes sense here. Some of us really believe that on a soul level we chose to be here. And if we follow that through to the end, then we need to believe that on a soul level we've chosen to participate in a certain way. And we must believe that on a soul level we've decided the time of death or the end of our lives. And we aren't leaving it up to chance. I mean, how many of us know people who've had like 80 near-death experiences? They're only near death because it's not their time yet. That brings me a lot of comfort and helps me take courage as I trudge forward. No, that doesn't mean be careless and stupid. It means follow your intuition, follow your guts. Listen to your whims and your interests. Listen, and don't be afraid. And trust in a higher order. And don't get too spun up or spun out. And for me, today, this is bringing me peace when I see someone I deeply love and respect having such a markedly different viewpoint about the same landscape that we're looking at together. Like, wow, how can you not see what I see right now? You know? And I really think it's because we're all here to play a role. It's like a soul contract or something. And I wonder what you guys think of it. I mean, this is just a conversation. And with that, soul contract or no soul contract, at least we can all agree that we individually are doing the best that we can with the information that we have, and we can probably all extend that degree of compassion and spaciousness and grace to everyone around us. And I want to take that to another level and say, some of us are not doing well right now. Some of us are deeply paralyzed in fear because we're so afraid of what our bodies are going to do if we get exposed to this illness. And that's deeply paralyzing for some people, to the degree that they are afraid to welcome their loved ones in their home, afraid to go and participate in family engagements or friend engagements or be out. And then there's another mental health challenge happening, plaguing so many of us, and that is fear of censorship and penalization, fear of, there's a bigger word than penalty here that I'm reaching for, but these are old witch wounds, to say the very least. These are old feminine wounds, to say the very least. There are so many wounds I can't even think of that I'm sure are there within so many of us that are keeping us quiet, as the media is showing you exactly what they want you to see up front, in your face, all the time, taking up 96% of the news, media bandwidth. And that energy, by the way, is seeping out of the airwaves and the TV waves into the community and the air. When I left the country in May of last year, I touched down in a different country and felt so much lightness, you guys. It is unspeakable. It was palpable on my body. And I woke up the next day and I had access to clarity. My intuition was so spot on. Everything was coming to me so much more clearly. I was working with clients and seeing their shit completely differently. So there is a fog over us here, and I don't even begin to guess at how that's being crafted. I'm sure you have ideas. I've got ideas. But we need to acknowledge that that's there, and that is so real. I lost my train of thought. I lost my train of thought. Thank you for your hearts and your confirmation. I really appreciate it. And if you remember where I was going, clue me in, because I want to get back to it. It was in elaborating the mental illnesses, the mental dis-ease, the mental dissonance, the mental disharmony, the mental instability that has been fostered and forced and just, forged is the word, created, simulated, created, promoted, produced, manufactured. Sorry, I love synonyms. But it's real, y'all. It's so real, right? It's so real. I mean, I can't believe I live under a rock. I should know better perhaps, but I'm just shocked to recognize that we actually have the technology in place for machines to literally derive the emotional lean of comments that are quite short on social media. Comments. And then that we have the wherewithal, the gumption as humans to weed those out, literally removing them from their placement in the ranking of all of the commentary, and then put them to the very, very, very bottom. It's probably only our, Second Amendment that allows them not to delete that comment altogether. I don't even know, but you know that there are people who have lost their accounts on social media without any explanation. That happened to my assistant. Her account disappeared, absolutely just disappeared. It's incredible, no explanation whatsoever. Wow, right? And can I just start some trouble and just say, no, I don't want to start trouble, sorry. But I want to start trouble. Let me think about it. Having worked in medicine, I've seen some pretty shitty human things. Stuff that makes me really glad that the idea of a solar flare could come and wipe us all out. I don't even know if that's possible, but it makes me happy that, if we can't hack it here, Earth can just take us out, right? And by the way, yes, that's gloom and doom. I am that kind of a person. I really believe that we have parallel lives. I really believe it. There's a part of me that's not here. There are so many parts of me that aren't here. So if this part vaporizes, I will just be present elsewhere. And that does really, truly give me solace. So forgive my grim humor, but it really does keep me afloat sometimes. In research, because I did a lot of research outside of medical school, you guys, a lot. Like I was on track for a PhD program for a hot minute there, master's program for a hot minute there, and worked at, some high-level institutions in their research departments. And in the same way that money seems to trump all, meaning it'll cause people to lose their mind and lose their sense of morality and trample their neighbor or sell their child, it's awful. Medicine sometimes caters to publications, profit, popularity, grants, and research gets twisted, data points get manipulated, and conclusions get manipulated. Experiments get performed on subjects that are sometimes questionable. And I just want to say there's a lot more. Every possible permutation of despicability, I just made that up, exists. And it exists in places you would think it shouldn't. And that includes in medicine, as it does in politics and the news media. And business is run by money, and people can cross lines and cross sectors and industries and join forces and create treaties or pacts or agreements for shared good strategically. And I'm just saying it because it would feel incomplete if I didn't. I asked before I continued to talk today. And while I have to respect at least the possibility that we are all here to play our role, I also have to complete mine, which I know is slated or templated in despising deceit. So it is my job to call it like I see it. And it is my job to trigger the fuck out of you if you're triggered. And that is okay. And it has to be okay for my role to be complete. I guess that's all I need to say today. I wish you well.